All right, you're looking at another piece of weirdness from Alex out in LA. Actually, I picked this up when the box first came in and tossed it back because I really didn't think it was anything unusual. It just looks like a regular cabinet lock. So I picked it up a little while ago and I took a look at the key though. So anyway, let's look at the cabinet lock first. Interior part, and I had just pulled this off. This is the ornamental cover, so once this is installed, that's what you'd see from the inside. The reason I know this is the inside is because if this were the outside, you could probably grab that with a pair of pliers and snap it off and get access to the lock. So inside, and then the outside, it's got this reinforced rib thing, and then a outer sleeve to protect that core to prevent that snapping thing. The locking pawl is here, and it kind of rotates. Let's take a look here. So it does work. So counterclockwise, and the locking bar pops out. So that's unlocked, and that would be locked. Notice it picks in the, or opens in the counterclockwise, so we're going to pick in the counterclockwise as well. Okay, why did I think this is something unusual? And that would be this key. If you get a chance to look at the key, yeah, this is really unusual. I've only ever seen this type of key in some of the challenge locks that I've done. So unusual in that we got great bitting here, but nothing up there. And that in itself isn't unusual. I mean, we got some low cuts. Those could be 2 or 3 really high cuts, but then you got this guy. And you got to ask yourself, why is that there? And the reason that is there is so that you can't push a tensioner down the entire length of the lock and turn the core as one piece. And the reason I say one piece is because this is a 2-piece, I believe, core. It's split right down the middle. Now, why would they do that? Well, let's look at this. If we have a split core, the break would be right there. And what would happen is I would be able to pick the outer core, just like on some of those challenge locks, and it would spin freely. It would not, however, be connected to the second part of the core, and it would not turn the actuator, it would not open the lock. So big exercise in frustration. And of course, the way to beat that is to use a really long tensioner so that when you do pick the first part and rotate, everything would rotate as one piece. The back part of this core is tensioned by that part of the blade. There are no pins back there. So that's what we're dealing with here, I believe. So let's find out. Let me go ahead and clamp this dude up. Let me find a tensioner. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get this thing picked. All right, let's try to get a tensioner in here. Not that one, a little thinner. Perfect. All right, I'm going to try to pick this counterclockwise because we know if this was the door side, in other words, this was a slider, then logically you would pick it. You'd know which direction you have to pick the lock. All right, I'm going to use a medium hook, 25 thousandths. So apply moderate tension because it is an older lock. I really don't expect security pins, but sometimes we're surprised. This pin 4 and pin 3 just clicked. Pin 1. Okay, I'm on pin 3 again. He's right on the bottom. Come here, you. All right, look. Oh, there we go. It is open. All right, so let's go ahead and spin it just for the heck of it, just to see what happens. Let me turn this so you guys can see the actuator. This is a moment of truth. And we got no turn. And what will happen at this point? The pins now fall into the top of the keyway. So what I'm going to do is take my pick. I'm going to turn it sideways so I don't bump the camera. And I'm just going to rake it to rake them back. And we'll keep turning to see if we can... Oh, I had it, but I dropped it. To see if we can get it to open, and it does not. So all the way back around, and now it's relocked. Yep. Okay, so let's turn it sideways. Let's do the same trick. Except I'll show you one of the techniques I found effective against some of the many challenge locks. The first one took me forever to figure out, but after that, a lot of copycat challenge locks came in, and I figured out a way to kind of beat these, even if they have that warding. There's pin 2, pin 1, pin 4, and there we're starting to turn. All right, the lock is open. What I figured to do is you take your pick. After you pick that last pin, what you do now is you shove him all the way into the back. Now remember, when we start to turn this core, there's that piece of warding that won't allow it to stay on the bottom to bind those 2 pieces of the core. So what I'm going to do is shove him all the way in and then lever him up to dig the tip of that pick into the back core. That's my plan anyway. And then turn it, holding that pressure. And I got nothing. It's not moving. Oh, I saw a little jiggle on it, but it didn't move. And now what has happened is the pins have fallen back down. So what I'm going to do is release the pressure. Now we know if we keep turning, nothing will happen. So I'm raking it loose. Okay, once it's raked loose again, and I believe it is now, I'll take that pick, shove him back in, and again, wedge him against the same place, the same part of that core, and just keep turning. Oh, it locked. Pins fell back. And my tensioner has now moved. Let's put him right there. All right, let's rake it again. There we go. It started to turn. There we go. All right, shove them all the way in, wedge him again. Now notice how far in that pick is. He's grabbing that back core, hopefully. And then just keep turning. Let me reach around the camera here. Arg. I can probably just rotate the pick, but I prefer to use the tensioner to maintain a little better control. And it started to turn. It started to move, but stopped. All right, let's do it again. So my pick probably fell out of the slot as I fumbled around trying to get that tensioner back. So we're on the right path. And if this doesn't work, I have a ball peen hammer. All right, here we go. Same trick. I'm going to reach around the camera. I'm going to take the pick, shove them all the way in, wedge them in, hopefully into that back core, and then rotate. And there, the actuator's starting to turn now. And it's gotten stuck halfway. Again, the pins have fallen down. Lighten up on the tension. Rake him loose. Put the pick back in. Wedge him again. And keep rotating until you get an open. That is how you beat split cores. And until today, I had no idea that there was a commercial split core out there. But apparently, there's been one out there for a very, very long time in the form of this Alpha cabinet lock. Alex from LA, thanks for the lock. Everybody else, appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal.